So final review for this week is for Lay Reviewers December Book Club Read, which was The Do-Over by Georgia Beers. For any of you that missed the introduction video, this is what the book looks like. Sorry about the lighting, it's not fantastic, but it's lovely in the introduction video, so you can go and check that out. And for any of you that want to check out my Goodreads review, I have just posted that a couple of days ago, so if you're on YouTube there's a link in the description below, and if you are on Facebook or on my blog then there is a link within the post. And this is a video review. So The Do-Over by Georgia Beers. What a story. Like, oh my god, did I love this. So I wasn't quite sure when we picked this up for book club and I started reading it. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't sure. I knew I was probably gonna like it based on what it was about, but I wasn't sure where the story was going, and it started a little bit slow. So I was like, okay, I can do this, I can stick with this, and I can tell you now that it is 100% worth sticking past this and the first chapter, because if you don't, you are going to miss out on a great chapter and a great story, and just you have to read it, all of it. Sometimes you have to stick with a book. The first chapter is just setting the scene for you, and that is very much what is happening here in The Do-Over. So it is a story about Bella, and it's mostly about Bella. I'm going to say it's mostly about Bella, but it balances between Bella and Easton because of the way it jumps around in the past and present. So Bella kind of runs into an old high school nemesis and a crush. I mean, seriously, like, really, that is something to deal with, isn't it? So Easton ends up in her conflict resolution class when her company has put them all the management into this class, and Bella is kind of instantly flustered, and it's quickly apparent that Easton doesn't remember her at all, and that she's kind of feeling as invisible as she did back in high school, but in a different way. So Easton just doesn't really connect the dots, and fate keeps kind of putting them in one another's path. And then when Easton gets talking to Bella about her marriage breaking down and such, because they do get on well, because Easton has no idea who she is really talking to. I just can't believe she couldn't remember, but I know the feeling, so I do understand. And Bella can't bear the thought of having to tell Easton the truth once they're getting along so well. I mean, would you want to tell the person who pretty much made your life a misery, like you're that person that they made a misery of when you're getting on with them so well? That's a lot to deal with, and she kind of struggles with the idea of trying to tell Easton the truth, but she does try, and the opportunity keeps from presenting itself. So it's Easton who actually finally connects the dots, and her memories of Izzy, so that's Bella, come back, and she kind of struggles to bury the guilt and the hope that forgiveness will be received, and that whatever she has started to build as a relationship now as a grown-up with Bella rather than a teenager will be worth it, that it isn't all going to backfire on her, because people hold grudges, and Easton's not sure if there's a grudge being held. So I really have never ever read anything like this before, and I absolutely loved it. Like I say, it was slow to start, and I was worried that I wasn't going to like it. And then, I mean, come on, I like everything. I love these books. I think they're brilliant. But I was worried that it was going to be slow, and that I wasn't going to love it, and that was really going to disappoint me. And do you know what? I really hope more stories like this exist. I really loved this. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. It was just so great. I literally had no idea what I was getting myself into, and yet completely, like, by the time I'd got over that first chapter, I was overwhelmed with emotion. There was so much in this that I got completely invested in and totally understood, sympathised with, empathised with, even with both the characters. I got the perspective from both their sides, understood where they were coming from and those feelings and why, and just everything I could just literally get. I literally got this book so much, and do you know what, it was being able to feel what the characters were going through, their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, because they were so relatable, and they kind of hit home, I guess, in a way as well. I literally laughed, cried, found myself totally getting the characters, just every bit about them. I say both of them, both their sides, both their perspectives. I understood them both. And I mean, everybody has had an experience like Eastern and Bella's, even if it's running into someone who you knew years ago who you just didn't like because of what they did to you. And that portrayal of guilt with Eastern, yeah, I got that as well. That must be hard. That must be really hard. So I got so emotionally invested in this, and I can't fault the story. I absolutely loved it. It was totally worth sticking with. It was a brilliant story, and Eastern and Bella were just perfect. They were perfect characters. They had the perfect story. I loved Bella's spirit, even though, do you know what? If I'd been in Bella's shoes, I think I just would have run out of the class. I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I admire her so much. She was hopeful, positive, forgiving, kind, and she totally understood Eastern and why she didn't remember her, and she was kind of happy about it, which again, I think if somebody had done that to me and then they didn't remember me, I'd be pretty psyched about it as well. But again, then I know that feeling because there are so many people who I knew years ago who don't remember me and don't recognise me, and that is just great, and it can stay that way, trust me. So I loved that. It was, like I say, it was one of those things that when you find that in a book with a character that you just completely connect with, it's really something special. And you know, I loved that I could relate to it. There's nothing better, you know, than having characters you can relate to. And my heart couldn't handle some of this, and I cried so much with Bella and for her as well. There were bits where I just got completely emotional. But Eastern was the one that I wanted to hate and couldn't. And I did see her perspective, but I know it's not my perspective. And I totally wanted to hate her, but it was impossible. And I was certain there was something more behind the past. I was really sure. And I'm glad I gave her the chance to be that character that I do actually admire as well. These two I just want to see more of because I haven't had nearly enough of them yet, and they have got so much more to give. It was an absolutely fantastic read, great, realistic, lovable romance, and it was an amazing story, and it had fantastic morals behind it as well. It was really good and a new favourite of mine. I adored this so much. It was so good, and I'm so glad that A, we picked it for book club to read, and B, that I stuck with it because it was so worth it. It was worth all those tears. It was so worth it. Yep, definitely worth it. I loved it so much. So I'll pop a link in the description so you can go and grab a copy of The Do-Over by Georgia Beers. If you've read The Do-Over, please let me know what you thought of it. How did you find it? Anything relatable in there for you? How much do you love it? And if you haven't read it yet, but it's on your to read list, or you're planning to read it, or you're now really interested in reading it, then again, get in touch because it's always great to hear what you're planning to read. And if you do grab a copy of it, I really hope you love it because it is so worth it and it was so good. Bye!